As they wait for the lights to go out. The revs are building. Let's go racing.
Everybody's doing a brand new dance now.
Howdy punters, and welcome to Wheel to Wheel Racing for yet another week. Here we are at Kyoto. We're doing the whole circuit here, the Yamagiwa and the Miyabi, all joined to one in one great cacophony of chaos. And joining us to show us through this chaos on comms tonight is Pagani. G'day Pagani, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Oh, mate, I'm excited for this track. I've been having a ball in practice at this track all week. It's been so much fun. It slips, it slides, it throws you into walls, it chunks out the grass. I want to see what these Div 1 guys are going to do with it.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those tracks that on paper look like an absolute handful for the drivers, but, you know, once you turn around a few laps, you can definitely see why it starts to become a favourite among the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially tonight they're going to be starting off the quali on hards in the dark because they're starting at dawn, so it will be interesting. What say I try and give these guys a bit of a message to get this thing underway? What do you reckon?
Definitely, to see what these guys can do on a hard tyre in the dark.
No worries. And go. What do you think's going to happen tonight? What are we looking at, Pagani? What sort of cars are going to be strongest? What team you reckon is going to come out on top here? All that sort of stuff.
I think car-wise, if we put the drivers aside and purely look at the car's performance, I think the BMW M6s might be a very competitive car around here. they're absolutely they're a missile through the first sector. As we can see, as Mountain Goat's now going around it as we speak. They're really strong up through these uphill S's. I think team-wise, it's going to be quite close. We've got Flossie in the McLaren who's on form in the McLaren. Sulad is also pulling his own weight, so there's a very good chance they might do well. There's also Fanger Racing. They've got Goat, who's absolutely pulling the team around in Div 1. You've got Orly as well, who's also doing a very good performance. So yeah, it's very open around here. There's a lot to fight for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I might just mention, even though he's on mute at the moment, we do have a Div 1 driver hiding in the back channels to have a chat with us later on in Stefco's out there in the Renault. So hopefully we will catch up with him a bit later as we go out for quality.
It's going to be very interesting to see how these guys perform in the night. This track is very technical, as we have seen through the hot lap that was uploaded earlier this week. It's very crucial to get your braking, steering and throttle inputs bang on, because if you have to take a second crack at it, it's really going to hurt your time.
Yeah, absolutely, especially on the hards. I don't think we're going to see many pit stops here for quali. There might be one or two of the people that are really keen if they wipe out on the first lap possibly. But I'm not sure it's going to be worth their while, as they won't get the heat into the tyre possibly.
Yeah, definitely. I think with these tyres, the new tyre model now with this game, tyres don't really come into their own after around like lap 2 or lap 3, so they don't really have too much time to get those tyres all warmed up. So it kind of makes itself irrelevant to go into the pits and put a fresh set of tyres on. What I think will make the difference is where you're positioned on the track compared to other drivers. They can see right now, Flossie is dropping to the back of the grid. He thinks that being in the clean air is probably better than being in the slipstream, which does make a lot of sense. Being around those long left turns behind someone it can really hurt your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of those corners, you can't see a damn thing when you're behind one of those cars. So it is really hard to get in, and they're usually the times that you end up collecting some grass. So what we might do now is just go back up to the front and run through the field, looking at that AMS Excavations, what are we in, the NSX there at the start for Seckers. A hot livery there by Adam. He's done a great job with that. And following him up is CJ Pup in the hybrid ag Corvette for drive 25.
Then we've got, in third place, we've got DJ Stefco, who's our driver who's also in the party with us. Might drop in a few times to say some words. They're running for TDR Racing. Behind him we have Goat for Fangit Racing in the BMW.
Yeah, and in the GTR, Tombo, I know Macca on his team in Div 2 is just going great guns in the GTR. I hope Tombo is going to pull off the same thing. And yet another TDR member following him in 6th in a Lambo that, let's face it, is a handful anywhere, and around here with the tyre wear is even more of a handful, is Apex Humper, who's in as a reserve, subbing for Nux, our usual driver.
And then in 7th place we've got Corbin, also known as CCH, in the McLaren, sorry, in the Mercedes for Scuderia Quadrifoglio Racing. Then in 8th we've got Oil My Blood for Fangit Racing in the Toyota Supra.
Yep, and another teammate in the AMS Excavations is Zuzu. Zoo, I believe, is standing in tonight for Dale Teagues, who is unavailable. And in 10th is another ring-in sub, standing in for KZ and Showman, who are a part-time pair. On the track, of course, is DCE Racing.
And then to round up the last two, we've got both FSI drivers, actually. I don't know how they managed to pull that one off. We've got Sulad running on the Porsche side of the team. And then we've got Flossie, who's our current Division 1 leader in the McLaren.
Right, let's get back and see where they're up to as we'll get into Seckers, who's just going around where the two tracks join onto the second half of the track now. That's a tight sector through there. There are so many different parts of this track that have all different difficulties involved. And a lot of these corners are so tight. There's so many corners you've got to cut right back to first gear on.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of tracks here. There's a lot of corners here where you need to be really committed. As you're coming up to the second last corner here, you got to be really brave in that area there. You can, that is one of those corners that we can really make or break your time. As he's approaching the last corner now, braking just after the 50 board, down into second gear. Sometimes first, depending on what car you're in, running the outside curb, and he's almost looked like he was about to go bottom out and come into the inside of the track there, but he managed to keep it in a straight line. So first one coming across the track, a 2-minute 19.2, quickly beaten by Pup and then Stefko as well, and then Goat, and second's quickly falling down the ladder. Goat's already up into the 18s with an 18.2. So yeah, some really quick times coming in already.
Yeah, on the hards, you know, I wouldn't expect much. A couple maybe in the high 17s. I know one or two cars out there are capable of low 17s if they're lucky in a perfect world. So the 18s are definitely going to be in hot contention for the pointy end of the grid.
Yeah, to get a 218 straight out the gate is really impressive, especially in a low 218. But I have heard rumours of Flossie getting into the 17s on the hard tyre, which is very impressive, as he's already 0.1 of a second up on Goat's time. Goat's stuck in a little bit of traffic, stuck behind Stefko, which hopefully doesn't hurt his time. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if his times get a little bit quicker.
Yeah, well, at the moment, if he keeps that one up, he is just a bees off being in those 17s himself. So there's a good chance he'll get there, especially if he gets a bit of slip off Stefko.
Yeah, with racing and qualifying around this track, it's one of those things where you have to be really pick and choose when you want to be in someone's tow. Like I said earlier, you don't want to be in a tow in some of these corners. It can really hurt your tyres. It can hurt your time. It can throw you off massively. But then again, you also do want to be in the tow for probably the uphill section, and obviously down the pit straight and down that hill after the fourth or fifth turn.
Yeah, the last sector he crossed, he was 3/1000th into the... Oh, and now he's a 10th. Yep, pretty much a 10th into the 17s. If he can keep at that, he's going to nail it, although he did pop that curve a bit wrong there.
Yeah, and looks like Flossie's also up for a 217 as well. I was a few sectors ago, he was 0.4 up on the personal best. Where is he at now? He's 0.6 up now on Goat's time, so he's well into the 17s. Hopefully he can keep that form as Sulo moves out of the way for him. That's some really good team communication right there.
There you go.
Coming into the last turn. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Flossie, he's coming around the last corner now, he's on the main straight. He looks really at home here. See what he's going to pull out. Is it a 17? It is.
Look at that.
17-4.
I know he probably doesn't want to make it, you know, everyone know, but hats off to Flossie, man, pulling this off. He's had 2 rounds of back surgery over the last 2 weeks, and he is still here nailing it. The man is a machine, and I doff my hat to him.
Yeah, definitely. It's the same within the FSR Discord server. We have been bowing down to Flossie for the last 2 weeks like he's a god. He's been absolutely pulling out massive results, even with the condition he's in right now. So again, like you said, hats off to Flossie. He's done an absolutely amazing job, you know, pulling the team around and, you know, keeping up his form, even though with his recovery.
Yeah, and also coming in third, we've got Apex for TDR in the 180 embroidery Lambo. He has pulled out a 17.8 as well. Now,
that's very impressive.
That is just awesome in that car, especially this is his first time in it. He's done a few practice rounds in it this week, of course, but this is the first week he's ever raced the Lambo with wheel to wheel, so he is not pulling out any stops. He's here to get it on.
Yeah, I definitely have a feeling that if Apex was probably in a more competitive car, probably something that's not a Lamborghini, I think he would definitely be up there in between Flossie and Goat. But then saying that, the gap between Flossie and Apex isn't a lot. It's only 1/100th of a second, so just one really good sector from Apex, and he's right in the mix with them.
Yeah, Tombo in that GTR. He's doing like Macca. He is up in 4th as well, going great guns in there. And Stefko in that Renault. He's got top 5 at the moment. That Renault, everyone goes, why in hell did you pick the Renault? Well, that's why. It just it goes.
It's a very good car, the Renault. You know, it does take a certain skill to make it work. I think we've come to the end of quali now. Yep, we are about 20 seconds out from quali. So look at that, Flossie has topped the leaderboard by the looks of it. There are a few drivers who have still got to come across the line, but I don't think, as I see someone spinning on the last corner, who was that? That was DJ, I believe. I don't know if he was up on a personal best or something, but I think a 2:18.6 is still pretty good. We've still got a few more drivers. I think we saw DCE coming across the track. There we go. And then we've got Flossie, who I think is just taking it easy. That's all of them. So some pretty good results there. Flossie, Goat, and then Apex rounding up the top 3.
Yeah, and do you know what we've got for race 2? Is it reverse grid of quali?
That is a very good question. I shall get back to you in in a few moments. Yeah, it could be. Let me check my board here. What has the weather god said? Let's have a look. Reverse grid results of race 1.
There you go. So reverse grid of these means we're going to have DCE, Corbin, Oil and Zoo at the pointy end for the next one. But can't take that away. A 2:17.747 for Flossie. And actually we've got the top 3 in the 17s. So great job to all those guys. There is like 0.1 between them. So,
yeah, I think it was like 0.12 of a second between the top 3, which is absolutely insane. You know, a lot of the drivers were scared that Flossie was just going to run away with it, but you know, if we're seeing Goat, who's only 0.1 of a second behind him, I think we're up for some really good racing between them two. And then Apex, he's probably just going to pick off some scraps, or maybe even get ahead of both of them really early on.
Yep. I don't know if Stefko's there. Oh no, we're going to start. I won't cross to him now. Not going to balk the guy on his, because this thing can be a rocket off the start with Renault.
Yeah, it's one of those cars that can get off the line really well. I'm expecting to see a couple of other drivers probably drop back lower as we get off the line. McLaren is actually really good on the hard tyre off the start. He doesn't bog as compared to the medium and the softs.
Okay, lights are on. Who we taken off with here?
I think let's take off with Apex here.
Yep.
See what he can do.
Seem to be having an issue with my views here for some reason. Here we go. Now it's working. Oh, that didn't sound good at all.
It was Seca's getting a bit of a bump from DJ come to the first corner. It's somewhat expected, but they've managed to keep it in a straight line, and I think he's going to let off a little bit and let Seca's back in front. Zoo, I think, got a bit held up in his gearing coming up the hill. He's for some reason dropped down into 4th. I think he may have had a brain fart and went down again instead of up a gear. So he's dropped back down to 9th, and that's opened a door for Suit Lad.
Wow. Remembering we're all on hards here. This is a hards only race, and they're cold hards. These guys are going to be fighting hard as we're on with Zoo, as they all come as a group of 4 into this tight right-hander. 2x2 around it, and they seem to have all survived.
Seca's has gone up from 6th to 5th. He got a nice move done on DJ coming to that downhill right. DC Racing just looking for some free air, I think. I think he's probably going to be the 4GT is one of those cars I don't think is going to do too well around here. I think he might be in for a bit of a tough time. A few drivers up ahead of him have washed out a little bit wide. Corbin, I think he's going to really struggle around here. This is a very much of a tyre preservation type of race, so Corbin, I think, being on the controller, he's definitely going to struggle. But he gets a move done on the inside.
On the hards, he should be fine. Corbin's a pretty big... someone just...
commentator's curse! There he goes! He kept it!
That was amazing.
Impressive. Very impressive to hold that one in a straight line.
As Oil goes, thank you, I'll take that. So Oil's got that now in the Super, and that Supra's got a bit of kick to it this week as well around here. And Oil, our resident tyre whisperer, I don't even think he's capable of saving too many tyres around this place.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting Apex getting a bit of a hustle from Tombo. I think he's going to go for an over and under. No, if Tombo can keep it in a straight line, that outside curve in the last corner, it can really throw you out there. I tend to stay on the inside part of that curve. I don't want to really go on top of it. It does bottom the car out and throws it onto the inside. But Flossie still holding his own out front. He's got a 0.3 second gap in front of Mountain Goat, who, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, that BMW is an absolute monster up the uphill S's, and he's closed that gap right down to the back of Flossie's bumper.
Yeah, he's doing Flossie no favours here. He's giving him a bit of a rub and a hurry up. He's really going to put the pressure on Flossie tonight, I think, Goat.
Yeah, the BMW is one of those cars that it's an absolute animal in the straights compared to the McLaren. I think, to be honest, anything's an animal in the straights compared to the McLaren. But the BMW does struggle to get the power down. As Flossie runs a little bit wide there, coming for that right-hander, that could be his preferred line.
That's
but he's
because
taking
you spoke ill about the McLaren, Johnny. You never speak ill about our McLaren. Just remember, it's on loan to you guys. We taught you all how to drive it.
You'll have it next. You have it next half. Don't you worry.
Nah, I think someone else has got it. Or it might not be at all, actually.
I think someone else may have picked it though. Yeah, McLaren. It's a lovely car to drive. Obviously, it's a very balanced car. It's not the most powerful in a straight line, but the GT4 McLaren definitely makes up for it. So Flossie's still holding his own out there, still 0.3 of a second ahead. But yeah, wouldn't surprise me if Goat makes a move eventually, probably later in the later stages of the race.
Who have we got closest out there? Let's have a look. Let's go down and check out Suit Lane. In 7th, he seems to have Stefko behind him, and he's got Pup in front of him. Pup's been struggling a bit this week. I think his tyre choice in that Corvette is very limited. I think that thing is chewing the hell out of his tyres.
Yeah, the Corvette doesn't strike me as a very competitive car around here. I think a lot of the FR cars might struggle, more specifically in terms of tyre wear. I think most FR cars are really going to struggle around here, especially the Mustang. Thankfully, we don't have the Mustang in the Div 1, but I know that we have it in the Div 3 and Div 2, so Palmer and Tachi in those respective divisions are going to struggle. But the 4GT, it's a bit of a different animal. Absolute bullet down the straights. It's unmatched to anything. Like, you could be in the tow and get a good run behind it, and it will still pull bus lengths on you by the time you get to the next corner.
Yeah, I know I was racing Gimp a couple of times in practice this week, and he's in the Porsche, and I was amazed how planted the Porsche is around here too. He was going great guns in that thing. So even though Suit, I don't think has been on track much this week and had much practice, I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to stay on track.
Yeah, and I think Suit's still recovering from a bit of the Matilda's games that we've had this past week. I know that I've seen a lot of photos in our team server of him being at a lot of pubs, so he might still be on a recovery road after all those long nights. But yeah, he's doing a pretty good job right at the moment, holding himself in the middle of the pack.
Awesome. What else we've got? Much happening around. Let's go find out what Seckers is doing up in 5th. He's in that NSX. How's his tyre wear looking in that? I haven't been against the NSX on track this week. I'm not quite sure how fast it is or how its tyre wear is going.
Compared to the both cars in front of it and behind it, its front right is a little bit better. But again, that's purely down to the fact that the NSX is an MR mid-engine rear-wheel drive compared to the FRs, which is front-engine rear-wheel drive. But it having more weight on the rear of the car, the rears are slightly more worn compared to the Nissan and the Corvette, both which are Drive 25 drivers. So whether it'll hurt him in the end of the race, we don't know. But I think the bigger concern of all the four corners for tyres is probably that front right.
Yeah, well, he has got a controller, but mind you, a controller driver that I have, no one comes close to in saving tyres like Tombo can save tyres on the controller. The guy amazes me with what he can do with that thing, but I'm not sure if that GTR is going to last the whole 6 laps or if Seconds is going to get in the end. I'd probably put my money on the NSX.
Yeah, I think I would too. Like I said, this round is massive about tyre wear, and the drivers that can really hold their own in for the tyres, they're really going to shine through this round. I think with here, tyres is more of a concern than just straight raw pace. The Lambo might do good around here. It might struggle. It's one of those cars that you have to really tame, and if you do it, it really rewards you. Like I said, we're 4 laps in, and he's still only a second out from Go and Flossie, who are in much more calm cars to drive.
Yep, and those 3 at the front, they're still pretty grouped up. They're not that bad. We've got like a whole 1.5 seconds less between the top 3.
It's down to 1.3.
Yeah, Goat has dropped back a little off Flossie. Last time I saw him, he was so far up there that I thought they were going to touch noses. But now we've got Apex not that far behind in that Lambo. I can't imagine his tyres are feeling that good, but he's just proven, he's been a mainstayer in this league for many a season. So these top 3 guys, I think Flossie may be the most eager, chomping at the bit to get this season's championship. The other 2 have already got one. It's Flossie's turn.
Yeah, and Flossie's pulled out a massive gap, I believe, in the Div 1 championship. I think he's almost about 100 points clear of Go. So he's absolutely in form. Even with his surgery, he's still look at him. He's still first, and he's got Go 0.6 of a second behind. He's almost out of slipstream range. And tyre-wise, Flossie's actually doing better than Goat. That front right is feeling a little bit worse for wear for Goat, and even Apex is doing better than Goat on tyre wear.
Wow, I just noticed the fastest lap at the moment does belong to Apex. Let's see what happens here. Do they clip it? No, it stays there.
Yeah, I think now we've passed that stage where we're in for some fast laps. I think, like I said before, lap 3, lap 2 is when you start to see the hards at their best performance. Anything after that, and it's going to start showing the typical performance of a hard tyre, which is a little bit lazy in the corners.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if we missed something from Corbin back there or if it's just tyre wear, but he's got a big gap back to Zoo. He's 6.5 seconds behind Zoo, 15 seconds behind the lead. I'm wondering if he collected a wall or some grass somewhere.
It looks like it's just down to raw pace, to be honest. Looking at his last 2 lap times, it's 2:20, 2:22, but he did have an absolute stonker of a lap 1 in a 2:30, 2:29, but I think that's just down to the first lap. So I think it's just more down to tyre wear, to be honest. I think he's starting to really show the struggles of a controller driver.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always, like you said before, as you can see him go sideways around that corner there, putting on a bit of a drift show for us. He does not make it easy on himself, Corbin, with the cars he's chosen. They're not the best tyre preservers, the AMG, so it's going to be a very hard season for him when it comes down to the tyre.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see him struggle in race 2. Where we have to use all 3 tyre compounds. That medium stint is going to be absolute hell for him. If he's already doing that 5 laps in on hards, I don't even want to think what he's going to be doing on the soft tyres when he has to do around 4 or 5 laps on those as well for race 2.
Yeah, and I know from practice this week there's been that many strats popping up, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Flossie is pulling out a lead. He's out to 1.3 on Goat at the moment. And I think that's just pure driving. Goat seems to be driving pretty smooth. I don't think there's been any stuff-ups there. So, and Apex, he's about a second. So none of them are in slip at the moment. They're all driving on their own rims. So it's going to be interesting to see how this ends. We're on the final lap, and Goat seems to be the worst on tyres. So what are the other 2 going to pull out?
I think Flossie is going to pull away. I think Apex might hassle Goat a little bit, which is definitely going to help Flossie. But Flossie almost lost it coming out of the last corner on the last lap. He was absolute dead center on the middle of that outside curb, and he was still hard planted on the gas. So he was really committed to get out of that curb in a hurry. So it's always one of those tracks that can really go from hero to zero real quick.
I don't know if Goat's going to be close enough to get him.
And I don't think you want to go to position 10 on the keyboard at the moment, Dodgy, because one of your boys has dropped down the grid, unfortunately. And fortunately for us, that driver is actually currently in the party chat, so we'll see if we can get a hold of him at the end of the race. We'll see what happened to him, but DJ lost it coming out of the 5th corner, I believe, just before that downhill section. He lost it, and he dropped a fair few amount of places.
Yeah, we'll see how DJ goes. Those blades of grass around here are lethal. Just one little tip of tyre on that grass and you're gone. So we'll see what happened afterwards. We're almost there now. Coming through the last sector, are we? Yep, coming through the last sector. Lossie's still got a good lead. There's not a chance other than a wipeout that Goat's going to get anywhere near him. And I think Goat's pretty safe from Apex as well.
Yeah, if even Apex is pretty safe from Tombo, 2.5 seconds back. But yeah, this last corner's caught out a lot of drivers. So who knows what could happen between the top 3 or even the rest of the grid, to be honest.
Oh, there's a bit of dust in the back there as Flossie comes over, followed by Goat and Apex. Then we've got Tombo following up with Seckers in 5th, Pup in the Corvette in 6th, followed by that Porsche of Suitlad, Zuzu and Corbin in 9th. Must have been a very good spin by Stefko to end up back behind DCE. Those guys were a fair way behind. But it is what it is. And Oily, that's a strange place for Oil to finish. Whoa. Usually I would have counted Oil for being up in the middle of the field. Last place for Oil, I can't see him being happy with that one.
Definitely not. And as of right now, we're still in the early stages of the season, and the points. Every point is crucial at the moment. It's still anyone's game. We're what? 5 rounds in, 6 rounds in,
yep.
And there's still a lot to play for in terms of points within the divisions and the championships, the teams.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a season. I've seen some great racing so far in the 5 rounds we've had. What we might do before we skip over to some ads, I might just bring Stefko on if he has calmed down a little and hasn't taken his headset and thrown it against the wall.
I nearly did.
What happened, Sunshine? Did you have a sand shoe blowout?
Following Suitlad was a lot of fun, not going to lie, great racing. But yeah, just touch the grass, and in this car, as soon as you touch a bit of grass, mate, it kills you, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's a boat, and you're just along for a sail ride when it hits that grass.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, how'd you go in the race other than that, though? The Renault's standing strong?
Yeah, it was fun. I missed my braking marker and knocked Seckers out of the way a little bit, so sorry, mate. That just sent me backwards, unfortunately. Wasn't the best, but onwards and upwards to race 2.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Well, on that note, thank you for dropping in for that, Seckers. We will catch up with you mid-race in race 2.
Stefko, not Seckers, Stefko, but thanks.
That is an insult. That's an insult.
Yeah, sorry, I'll owe you for that one. Trust me.
That's definitely lunch.
Cross over to some ads, boys, and then we'll get race 2 kicked off. We'll be right back.
I'm a gamer, a foodie,
A boss lady. I am sporty,
outdoorsy,
outspoken. I am fashion.
I am old-fashioned.
What I am not.
It's the same, but none of us are.
We are all individuals with unique interests, needs, and goals.
We believe that everyone should have the right to live the life they want for themselves.
Whether it be exploring the world,
Dog walking,
or binge watching their favorite show.
So instead of searching for the things that we do the same,
Let's champion the things that set us apart.
because we're not innovating for disabilities.
We're innovating for individuals.
Yes, and welcome back, guys, to race 2 for this evening at Kyoto. We've got a baller of a race ahead, 18 laps around here, all 3 tyres mandatory. You're going to be lucky if your soft tyres last more than 4 or 5 laps. What do you reckon, Pagani? What are we going to see here with some tyres?
There's definitely going to be a lot of strategies thrown at the wall. It's just a matter of seeing which one sticks. I think all the drivers are roughly on the same number of laps in terms of how long they'll use each tyre. I think where the big discrepancy is which tyres they're going to use in what order. I think if it was me, I'd probably start on the hard tyre, and then, well, depending on where you are on the grid, to be honest, if you're starting at the front, then probably maybe switch to a soft tyre and get a nice lead on everyone else. But for everyone else, probably start on a hard tyre, try and slowly work your way through the grid and get some clean air for later on.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. And just again, thank you to all the sponsors who we just saw the ads for, Per Mobile, for looking after Wheel to Wheel as a whole. We've got our team sponsors in AMS Excavations, 180 Embroidery and Hybrid Ag, who have all been here for multiple seasons. We cannot thank those guys enough. And by the look of the cars on field at the moment, I'd say we're getting ready to kick off for race 2. Hopefully
yeah, the Drive 25 guys are getting a bit restless. They're paying a bit of dodging cars just up the hill. They look like they're ready to race.
Yep, as Corbin comes through the smoke and doesn't miss him.
He wants to join in the fun. During the break, we also managed to have one of the drivers pop into the comms room, Oily, who will eventually, throughout the race, or we might even have a chat with him now, and see what happened with him in the race 1, because he ended up finishing in last, a position where I think neither of us, Dodgy, were expecting him to finish. So, Oily, if you are there, you mind popping in and ask us what happened?
You can. I ran out of talent. Don't look at the delta whilst turning left is what I did.
Alright, well, we'll leave you to it, and good luck to both you and DJ for race 2.
Cheers, bud.
Awesome. So we're on at the moment in position 4. Let's see how we go. We've got Stefko in front.
I think let's hop on with Tombo. Let's see what Tombo can do. He's somewhat towards the back of the grid. Let's see what he's going to experience out in front.
Okay, I'm not going to find him just yet. Sec.
P8.
On with Tombo now, as he's got some power coming through there. I think Zoo's going to stop him though. He can't get past those 2 AMS guys.
Oh, there's a lot of biff and barging between Corbin. Oh, Corbin got really screwed over. He actually kept going to the wall up the hills. He's got some front end damage. That's going to really hurt him for the next few sectors.
No worries. We'll go back shortly and see if we can find him. We'll just wait and see if these guys get through. Oh. Just buzzing around everywhere like angry bees, these things at the moment, all tapping and biffing and barging. There is no politeness here at all, as we see who we got up there. Oil and Stefko up the front, just going for it, letting these guys fight back there. They're getting a good lead out, so could possibly be tyre choice. I'm not sure what tyres and who's running what at the moment, but yeah, they're starting to bridge a gap and get away from these guys in the hustle and bustle.
Yeah, so we'll go quickly through the grid at the moment. So we've got DJ on the hard tyre, Oily on the medium, Puppy's also on the medium tyre, so that's probably why they're pulling a bit of a gap. I think Oily's probably just giving Stefko a bit of a hurry along, but I don't think it'll take very long for Oily to, as he's gone off into the grass. That's commentator's curse. Alright, we'll skip past him. Seckers, who's now promoted himself up into 3rd. He's now on the hard tyre. Oily is probably putting your fist up in the air right now as I've spoken over him. In 4th, we've got Zoo on the medium tyre, Tombo's on the hard, Corbin's on the hard tyre, DC's on the medium tyre, Mountain on the hard tyre, Flossie on the hard tyre, Sulad on the hard tyre, Apex is also on the hard tyre as DC has gone off at the second last corner. I think he may have just taken that curb a little bit wrong. Apex also on the hard tyre, and we've already gone through DC on the medium, and Oily again on the medium, who's magically ended up in last place. I don't know what's happened there. No comment.
Yeah, nice one. Just for the record, it was going. I didn't have anything to do with it at all. Yeah, so Stefko now stepped out on the hard. He's making the best hay while the sun shines there on that hard tyre. What's going to happen is that medium's going to come up to scratch, but so is the hard. And depending on how wide Stefko can make that car, he can really hold these medium guys up. So this track is a bit hard to pass on. Depending on where you are with these drivers, you can make them use up their medium tyres or their softs for that matter quite easily. So Stefko's got a little bit of a box seat here at the moment. I'm going to shut up now and go to a different driver before I screw it all up.
Well, Suitlad and Goat have, Flossie and Goat have already made some positions up, already lapped 2, and they're already halfway through the grid. So they've done, I won't say halfway, but they're a fair way up. They've done pretty well, and they're both on the hard tyre, so they've already passed a few medium drivers. So they're doing really well so far.
Trying to find a little battle here at the moment. I mean, they're all in battle groups at the moment. It's very hard to pit. Let's go up and check out how...
might be a good one.
Well, I've got Tombo at the moment, who's right on Sekka's backside, and Corbin was giving him a little almost touch up there too. So the two controller buddies are together, and Zoo in that NSX it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and if you know, looking. Yeah, and looking further back, you know, there's between those two, there's only about 2 seconds between 5th and Suitlad down in 9th position. So, and even Apex as well, he's right up in the mix as well. So it's really a battle between, you could almost say 4th and 10th. You know, if all it takes is seconds to have one bad move, and you know he could very much see himself dropping it back into the double digits in terms of positions.
Yeah, it is one of those tracks too. It will spread out a bit later, but at the moment, one little problem at the moment could cost you a hell of a lot of spots. But it seems to have been very clean. I haven't seen too much biff and barge that is very suspect with these guys. It's one of the cleanest races I've seen with this lot for a while.
Yeah, I think the only real form of contact we had was Corbin on the first lap coming up the hill. We've got Pup, who's right on the back bumper of DJ at the moment. He's right up on there, you know, 0.2 of a second. But I think if DJ can hold his own for maybe another lap or two, we might see Pup drop off due to the tyres. DJ can probably hold his own for another 3 or more laps on the medium tyre. But Pup's going for a move on the inside.
Yep.
Is DJ going to? Is DJ
through as well? No, DJ closes the door on Blue, slams that sucker shut.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned if I was DJ at that moment. I think Pup will probably go into the pits in the next lap or two. He'll probably just see himself get promoted back up into first position.
Gee, you reckon he's only got that many? He's on mediums, isn't he?
Yeah, Pup and Zoo on the medium tyre. So it'll come as expected with Zoo and Pup getting past DJ. But like I said, I think give it another lap or two, and I think the overall performance of the hard at that stage will probably outperform the mediums.
Absolutely, there is a definite crossover, and I think Pup learnt a lesson earlier on today is definitely not go further than you should on the tyres. Around this track, it's definitely better to pit early rather than risk your tyre for another lap. If you don't think you're going to make it, then don't try.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things you don't want to gamble on. Just play it safe. Try and make it back up in just pure pace rather than trying to bring out the longevity of your tyres. But comparing Corbin and Oily, it's surprisingly, Oily actually has more tyre wear than Corbin. He might be the new new controller player who just munches through his tyres, and it's a bit surprising from Oily, to be honest, because a lot of us actually see Oily as a Sergio Perez type of conservation god, but Yeah, the medium tyres on oily, it could work for him, but he's really struggling to make it work with Corbin trying to get around him.
Oh, you never know. He could have his co-pilot in there with him. He could have baby oil driving tonight. You never know.
The baby Johnson's powder on the feet. But Apex is unlike Flossie and Goat. Hasn't really made much ground in race 2. He's still stuck behind Suit, and he's 1.2 ahead of him.
Yeah, I would think, looking at those times, he's not near the hard times of race 1. Probably a bit of traffic has hampered him a bit. But, yeah, it's hard to pick what's going on there with Apex. He may be trying to stretch that tyre a bit. I know he mentioned something about trying to save tyres and go a bit further. It just depends whether he's trying to do it on the hards, I suppose. So we'll wait and see, but we seem to have back up in the pointy end. Stefko's still in front of Zoo as we coming around for lap 4. If we're on softs, I'd say they're going to pit now. I've got to hope to God that Pup in that Corvette's going to get more than 4 laps on the mediums.
You'd hope so.
We'll wait and see. How are the tyres looking in the Alpha, the Zoo?
If we compare the Alpha to the Corvette, the Corvette it is a bit worse on the front right, but I'd say the back right, they're pretty similar, to be honest. As DJ getting a bit taily coming out of that corner, almost opened the door up for Zoo.
Happens there so often in that car.
Yeah, the Renault is one of those cars that very similar to the Lambo. If you can tame it, it's one of those really nice cars to drive. But you put one foot wrong there, and it will punish you severely.
Yeah, you do have to have that throttle very smooth. You can't just slam this one down, unfortunately.
But we see Flossie's made a move on. Yeah, Flossie's made a pass on Goat. That was very recent, probably in the last half lap or so.
And they're both on the hard, I believe you said, didn't you?
Yeah, both on the hard tyre, I think, yep. So, yeah, Goat's going to make a little bit of ground up here, probably make about 0.2 of a second here on Flossie, coming up the hill. But Flossie's got a bit more tyre wear. But ahead of them, we've got Tombo and Seckers. So they're going to go side by side? Yes, they are. Oh, it's Tombo. That could have gone so very wrong for Seckers if Tombo still wanted to keep his nose there. Oh yeah, they're both on the hard tyre, so they're pushing hell for leather at the moment, getting as much tyre they can get out of those hard tyres.
Goat's got Flossie back again. You missed that one. Flossie went a bit wide at that previous corner.
Yeah, definitely. It probably would be the reason why. Oh, Flossie!
Oh no, he's on the grass. He's losing some spots.
No.
Does he hold it? He's going to have dirty tyres now, and they stick. Oh, for at least a quarter of the lap around here. Those dirty tyres. It is terrible.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And Apex is going to try from move around the outside. Is he not?
Oh, he's got a green and silver roadblock in front of him there.
Yeah, Suitland might. Oh, so I think Suitland was trying to get in between them and try and help Flossie out a little bit, give him a little bit of breathing room. But yeah, Apex said no. I'm taking that position off you, mate. Move out of the way.
Yeah, it's you know what it's like when those boys at the pointy end. If there's a slight sniff, it's the nostrils flare and off they go.
Well, they have to. You know, it's one of those races where you don't want to be held up by a slower driver. Like I say, slower, like as if these D1 guys are slow at all. These guys are the other tip of the iceberg of the league. But you know, each have differences to each other within the league. But yeah, like you said, you know, the top guys like Apex, Flossie, and Go, they don't want to be spending much time behind the middle tier Div 1 drivers like such as Suitlad. They stay one lap behind them. That's costing them, you know, upwards of a second per lap.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a bit of a gap now between Flossie and Goat. He's got almost a 3-second gap there and 8 seconds from the front, which hasn't really changed much. Pump is he's probably increased by about a second since last we saw. But Zoo is still happy sitting in there behind Stefko, I think, I reckon he's sitting there saving fuel personally. And probably just saving up for a big jump in the pits.
You say that, but DJ and Zoo, they're not very different on fuel, to be honest. DJ is slightly worse, but I think it's more down to the tyres, to be honest, because like I said before, Zoo's on the medium tyre, and his complete right side they're very even in their wear, it being an MR car, but they're down to like the last 20% of their tyres, whilst DJ's still got, you know, a good half tyre left on his right side of the car. So I think it's just purely down to tyre performance.
Yeah, look, the hard tyres on the Renault can get you 7-ish laps on a full tank if you want it. And quite honestly, my personal thought is that half the time that extra lap on the hards is still quicker than your slow last lap on the mediums anyway. So it's going to be interesting to see when these guys pit, not just the Renault. I would imagine we're going to see Pup coming at the end of this lap, but I'm not sure about the Alpha.
Yeah, I'd definitely be pitting if I was Zoo, as DJ getting a little bit tailored coming out of the second last corner. Not enough for Zoo to make a move, but yeah, I would be very surprised if Zoo doesn't come into the pits. That's Pup does.
There's Pup.
Oh, Zoo doesn't pit.
No, Zoo stays out.
Interesting.
Goat's in. He's getting off the hards already, and Flossie's followed suit. Apex has stayed out.
Very, very interesting.
Interesting. How's Apex's tyres for him to stay out there? He's on the hards.
It's actually not too bad, to be honest. The back right is a bit worse for wear, but you know, his lap times are still very competitive. He's still well into the 219s. He's almost in the 18s, to be honest. So he's still doing very good. He's only one tenth off that sector, so it looks like he's still holding his own on the hard tyre. So I don't think him pitting was necessary at that stage.
Yeah, as it looks like Zoo has taken an opportunity to get past Stefko. But look, these guys are all in the same race at the moment. You know, Apex, Stefko, Seckers, Tombo, they're all on the same strat so far. They're sticking out the extra lap on the hards. Does it look like any are going to go any further than the 7, do you reckon, or are we going to see them all come in on this lap?
Let's have a look through the grid. No, I think if you're on the medium tyre, definitely now pit if you haven't already. Like DCE went into the pits, I think his front right was completely dead on the medium tyre. I think Corbin should probably think about pitting this lap. His front right is probably down to the last 10%.
Yeah, look, it's probably a show of hands here. If all these guys are going to be pitting on this lap, we're going to have to guess they're going to go a 7.74, because you wouldn't really want to stretch those softs much more than 4. It is doable, but it can be a bit dicey on that last lap of the softs, and it can be dicey on that 7th lap of mediums as well.
Yeah, definitely. Now, like, as you're saying, for example, right now we've got Zoo, who's on the medium tyre, who's now. I thought he was going to do another lap, but he's finally pulled into the pits, and his right side is completely dead. The back right probably has about a slither of white on it left. But what that did, that pretty much left DJ well in contention there. He was only pulling into the pits only about 0.2 of a second behind him, so it does show that overlap between the medium and the hards and the other tyres respectively, where, you know, where the slower tyre does eventually outperform the faster tyre.
Yeah, but what it's done there is Zoo just matched all the hard runners on his mediums.
Yeah, that's very impressive for Zoo to pull that one off.
Yeah.
That'll probably help him eventually in the soft tyre part of the race.
Yep.
He might push out these hard tyres, or he might cut them a little bit short, to be honest, and then run the soft for a little longer. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
It's the only thing is the other guys probably have more tyre up their sleeve. It's whether Zoo can make. He is in the Alpha. It is the tyre car. It's whether it can make those softs last at the end.
Yeah, definitely. In the Group 4, the Alfa Romeo is an absolute tyre preservation king compared to everything else. Group 4, not so much. It's still up there, but it's nowhere near as compared to the GR4 as Apex is looking for a move on the inside. Yeah, it looks like he is. Yeah, there we go. Apex up into 8th, and then Suitlad also having a sniff.
Well, I know Seckers is on the softs. What's Apex on? Did any of these three guys go to softs?
Apex is on the medium, Suit is on the medium, and Zoo is on the hard.
Right.
The only soft tyre I think that we're seeing at the moment, there's actually a few soft tyre runners. So we've got DCE who's on the soft tyre. He's someone has gone round. Zoo has gone round. He's gone round just right about. We might get on replay.
I'll
12th position.
Where is he?
12th. Probably about 20 seconds ago. He's got some front end damage.
Let's see if we can catch it. Am I on with Zoo? Oh, yeah, there he goes. We just caught it. His rear end has tried to overtake his front end, and he's just gone straight into the wall. So,
just as we
doing by the look of it.
Yeah, just as we switched cameras, he managed to spin around. But yeah, we'll quickly start from the top and go through a rerun on the tyres as everything's happened now. We're halfway through the race. So, Pup is now on the soft tyre. He pitted about 2-3 laps ago by the looks of it. Goat is also on the soft tyre, and I think has also pitted 2 or 3 laps ago. Seckers is also on the soft tyre, so top 3 guys all on the soft tyre. I think Seckers only pitted 2 laps ago. Rossi is on the medium tyre, and he would have pitted at the same time as Pup and Goat. DJ on the medium tyre, who also would have pitted 2 laps ago. Apex on the medium tyre 2 laps ago. Suitlad on the medium tyre 2 laps ago. Tombo, same again. Then we've got Oily on the hards. Now that's a surprise. He also would have, yeah. he's also just pitted. DCE is on the soft tyre. I believe he would have pitted about 2-3 laps ago. Orban in second last position is on the soft tyre. Be interesting to see how long he can make them last. He's only just pitted, I believe. And Zoo, who we were on with just before, is on the hard tyre, and he is on the road to recovery now after that mishap from a few moments before.
Sweet, and I believe it was going to be 9th actually. Oh no, I won't bother him. He's in a bit of a battle with DCE at the moment. What about Stefko? He's going to be. We'll wait till the main straight. We'll see if on the main straight he can flick his mute button and see if we can get a word with Stefko back there in the Renault. Coming 5th at the moment, 14 seconds behind the lead.
Yeah, he's doing a very good run at the moment. He's in a bit of clean air, so he can pretty much run his own race. Make the tyres work to his own. He doesn't have to worry about. They could attack if he wanted to, but the person in front of him is Flossie, so I don't think he's too fussed about the people in front of him. He probably thinks of them as drivers who are probably a little bit ahead of him. But you've got Apex as well, who will probably slowly close down the gap. But Stefko is in a very comfortable position at the moment. So if I was him,
well, you missed the straight. He's not going to talk to us now.
I'm here, gentlemen.
There we go. Don't ever doubt the man.
I'm doing okay. Doing okay.
You are, so don't want to distract you too much. Feeling comfy on the stint at the moment?
I am actually. Clear air, nothing to worry about. Feels good.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'll
beautiful.
leave you to it. We'll try and catch you a bit later in the race.
Cheers, guys.
Okay,
We'll probably get on with Oily a bit later on.
Yeah. He's
Just
still
getting
battling.
prepared. Yeah.
So, Pup has still got a 1.5 second lead over Goat, although it is shrinking now. That's pretty impressive by the Pupster out there. Well, we're over halfway through this race, and he's got the lead ahead of these guys. So that Corvette, well, it might be showing us up at the moment.
Yeah, and they're both on the soft tyre. Pup's wear is a little bit worse than Goat, but you know, from an ex-Div 1 champion, you don't expect Pup to outperform Goat in forms of tyre preservation. But yeah, that gap is slowly closing. We're down to almost under a second now between Pup and Goat. Seckers is still lingering there. He's got a lot of clear air in front of him. He's about 6 seconds behind Goat, but Flossie, who's about 8 seconds off Goat, I think that moment he had earlier on in the race may have hurt him a little bit. But you never know. Flossie might pull something out of the bag, and he might make those soft tyres, because he's going to be on the soft tyre towards the end of the race, so you never know, he might close up the gap significantly.
Trust me, after this, the only thing Flossie's going to want to pull out of the bags is meds.
Definitely. Yeah, he's been on a massive road to recovery, on and off track. His operation, I think he went under the knife, I think twice in the space of a week, which is absolutely outstanding. He barely had time to recover from the first operation, and the doctor pulled him aside and like, look mate, you're pretty ready to go for round 2. So yeah, he's absolutely not as 100% Flossie, but he's still doing massive efforts. You know, first in the first race, and he at the moment 4th. I can probably see him getting a top 3 at least for this second race.
Meanwhile, Tombo's back there in 8th. He's a big step behind compared to where he was. I don't know if this is a strat thing or Tombo's just having a hard time with it. It's very unusual to see him back there 21 seconds behind. I'm wondering if there's just a difference between the stop sequences for these guys.
Well, he did have a 2-minute 40 lap time on lap 7, which isn't too different compared to the other out lap times. There are a few seconds quicker. You know, fleeing through the rest of the field, you know, you got 2-minute 39, 2-minute 35s, and a 2-minute 37 in some stages for out laps. So he may have had a mishap on that out lap, which may have affected him a little bit. But I think there was a driver I just saw whose fuel light was flashing. Goats, his fuel light is flashing, but I don't think he'll be too concerned at the moment. He did make a pass on Pup eventually. I'm not sure when, but he's now 0.6 ahead of the rest of the pack.
Yeah, well, if his fuel light's flashing, what's he on? Lap 11. And he's on softs now, so he must have a medium stick to go. He's probably very close to going in. He should get 6 to 7 on mediums out of that thing. Yeah, here he comes now. And he's followed by Pup as well. 7 laps in the Corvette on mediums. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's a big ask. I think most medium tyre runners, they probably don't last anything more than maybe 6 laps. So he's got another one to do. So it's going to be a bit of a tall order. And we've got Flossie, who will be on the soft tyre, as Goat will be on the medium. It's going to be quite interesting towards the end of the race where them two tie up at the end.
Yeah, it's on the softs. Seckers isn't on the softs, so I think Flossie's going to be the only one out of the front runners at the moment that will be on softs. I believe Stefko has probably got a soft stretch to go as well, and Apex as well. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how much time can be made on the softs versus the worn mediums. I know I was in a practice race earlier and there was almost 3 seconds of that.
Yeah, this track, it definitely does show its strength. A lot of long-lasting corners. You know, you got those three left-hand bends which go on for ages, and you know those different tyre compounds, they really do show their own in those particular parts of the track. But you've also got the big braking zones, and it's getting on the power a lot sooner. So Corbin and Pup.
Back in ninth, you've got Corbin, and Pup having a nice little rub on the inside of that corner. I thought they were both going to come and guts it in. As Corbin hits the grass, that's going to give Pup a bit of a reprieve.
Yeah, but I don't think that was probably the smartest move from Corbin to try and battle a fresh tyre on her, regardless of Corbin being on a soft and a hard tyre for Pup. Pup is on brand new hards, Corbin's on completely worn soft, so don't think probably the smartest move from Corbin to try and stick a nose up there. It probably just got more overall damage than good. I think better off just to stay behind Pup and just pull into the pits. There's no real gain out of overtaking Pup realistically.
Yeah, well, as Corbin hits the grass again, there is a person floating behind there with a bird's eye view of it all, and that's Oil in My Blood. As we're coming up to the start-finish straight, maybe we can get some words from Oil.
Certainly
or
can.
Baby Oil if she's there.
No, mate, she's not here tonight.
How's it going out there for you, Oil?
Oh, it's not too bad. I would have preferred a smoother lap 1, but anyway, I'll come in probably at the end of this lap or the next one and finish her off on softs.
You're on softs at the end too. Are they? Is the Supra good on the softs? Does it give you some comfortable speed to get up to the pointy end?
She won't get to the pointy end, but I'll see if I can get anywhere near that purple lap though.
Oh, there's a challenge and a half. Down to 15.1 I've just noticed too. No 14s yet, but close.
Yeah, that's not going to happen for me.
Well, I tell you what, we'll leave you there and maybe we'll catch you a bit towards the end, Oil. Good luck.
All right, cheers, mate.
Yeah, so some impressive time there by Gota to a 2:15.1. I believe that would have been on the first proper lap on the soft tyres. But yeah, the soft tyres don't really last particularly long. And speaking of the soft tyres, how many laps did Corbin end up doing on the soft tyre before switching to the mediums? I think he did, around 4 laps.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I've just noticed Flossie has started to drop off. His last lap was a 2:17 when everything else has been almost a 2:18 actually. Everything else has been in the 16s. He's got to pull off another lap yet before he goes to those softs, I reckon. I still think that McLaren's only going to get 4 laps on the rear for softs.
No, he's actually going to put into the pits at this rate because I feel like it's flashing like crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He'll brave it. The worst thing about those MRs with that rear tyre wear is those, what are we looking at, the left-handers around here. The rear tries to overtake the front as soon as you hit them if that rear tyre is worn. It spins almost every corner. It can be very dicey.
Yeah, and where it's going to be very important for Flossie right now is where he pulls out onto the track. If he's in for some clean air, he's going to be absolutely cheering. If he's held up behind, some drivers are coming out of the last corner right now, he's going to be in for a lot of trouble. Like the jacks go down to see where he comes out. He might just beat the pack ahead. He does. He's into 4th. Is he going to get ahead of Pup? He might. He just stays ahead of Pup. Yeah, that's very good for Flossie. Very good.
Yeah, well, judging by this at the moment, we're going to have probably the 2 front runners, Stefco and Apex, in for a pit at the end of this lap. Being that it's about 15 odd seconds for tyres, then you're going to wait for fuel. I'm going to say there's going to be about 20 odd seconds in that pit stop. That's going to put them back down around Tombo with 7th.
Yeah, smack in the middle between Tombo and Oily, right between them two. So they've got a lot of work to do from after that, and we'll see where they come out after the end of the race. But just up ahead of Tombo, we've got Seckers and Pup, who are battling for P5. Pup is on the hard tyre, and Seckers is on the medium. So we'll see what happens here. They're only a couple of turns separated by each other. Pup taking a very defensive line. I think that might come back to bite him as Seckers get on the power a little bit sooner, and there we go. right up on the inside of Pup there, and he's cleared him well before the next corner. As DCE has just picked up a half-second penalty. I'm not sure where you can pick a penalty up on this track. He may have probably just run himself a little bit wide out of one of the corners, or maybe even cut the corner, maybe. But commentator's curse strikes again. He's out on the grass. Now dropping out of the 10-second range to Zoo, who's in 11th. Who's also on a bit of a lonely recovery drive after his mishap on lap 8, I believe it was. Apex and DJ into the pits.
Yep, so let's jump on with Tombo and see where they come out. I think they might be a fair way behind these guys. It depends on their fuel.
Yeah, and Tombo's on the soft tyre now, so they might actually drop well back behind.
Yeah, way behind.
So out comes DJ. Where is he going to pop out? He's going to pop out in 6th, but he's going to get a bit of pressure from Oily and Suit. No, that he looks like he's fine. But Suit on the inside, turn 1.
Yep. Oily ran a bit wide on that one, but Stefko's on the softs now, so he was able to tuck that in tight. These guys up ahead may be in for a spot of bother from Apex, who's going to be on the softs as well, who's going to totally try blitzing it through there. So meanwhile, back up the front, you've got Flossie, who's only 5 seconds to go. Now Goat is on what tyre? Because we know Flossie's
Goat is on the medium tyre.
Okay, so there's probably not going to be a huge drop-off. Maybe once they start wearing around the end of lap 16 or halfway through 17, you may be seeing 1.5 to 2 seconds with these guys.
Yeah, definitely. So Flossie's already up by 0.5 on his personal. His personal is a 16.3. I think we might see a mid-15 from Flossie at one stage. So, oh, there we go. He's 0.7 up now on his personal. We might actually see Flossie be within a shout of a purple time here. So there's a very good chance we might see a 14 here from Flossie. He's already closed the gap by 0.5 of a second to go.
He's coming around that tight left-hander coming into the last sequence, the last chicane.
Ooh.
Yeah, he hits purple. And
it's
that's
0.2.
definitely got him in the 14s.
Absolutely astonishing.
Yep. No, he's done 14s this week already. But to pull it out on race night, yeah, that is a great effort.
He's closed the gap by nearly a second in one lap.
Yep. Well, the man, like we said, is a machine.
Yeah, look at that, a 14.9.
Yeah.
Absolutely impressive.
Yes, I'm sure there's a standing ovation out there somewhere. That was
definitely. So if I was Goat, I might be a little bit scared at this current stage, but who knows? Maybe towards the end of the race, the softs might wear off to a point where Goat might be a bit safe.
He's got 3 laps to get it done. I've noticed the mediums on this track, once they get below half, they really drop off. So while the softs, yes, they're going to be dropping off, those mediums are going to be dropping off as well. And I know I'd rather be on worn softs than worn mediums.
Yeah, definitely. I think, look, he's almost closed the gap to a second already. He's already 3.2.
Yeah, Seckers goes to...
I see that.
Up there on Tombo. Seckers is on softs as well, is that correct?
Seckers is on the medium.
He's on the medium, okay.
Tombo's on the softs.
Well, that's going to be interesting because behind Seckers, 3 seconds away is Stefko. So these boys have all got 3 laps. 3 seconds is a hell of a lot to make up in 3 laps. You've won.
Yeah, we've got a nice battle for 6th. With Sue on the outside, is he going to hold her around there? It's a bit of a bump. That's going to go. I thought I was going to see Sue in the water, that little tap, but beautifully done by them two to keep it well within the lines.
Yeah,
that's an awesome move by Sue lad around the outside.
Apex
absolutely awesome.
Loving seeing it too as Apex picks Pup up there. after a little squirrel around that corner.
Yeah, so lad, absolutely amazing move, and as well for Apex to spot the opportunity and make it work as well. But yeah, Pub can't do much at this stage, to be honest. He's at a stage in the race where he's on the worst tyre compared to other drivers. Finish on the hard tyre may have bit him back a little bit more than he expected.
Yeah, absolutely. But that Porsche is looking so stable through there at the moment. I haven't seen Souplad really put much of a foot wrong in it tonight. It just looks so planted, that car.
And Flossie is now under 2 seconds to go. Not to go? Yeah, to go, sorry. He's really pushing it. In fact, last lap, he was 3.2 seconds behind Gert at one stage, and the lap before that, he was actually 5.2 seconds behind, so he's really pushing. He's really pushing it.
14s in a row.
Yeah, it's absolutely mental.
We've already established that. The guy's driving in the 2 weeks he's had surgery. That's mental.
Oh, so he's almost in the second now.
Go. Those knees have got to be shaken.
Oh, definitely.
He's seeing that silver and green beast just get closer and bigger and closer and bigger in that rear view. You're looking at his delta and sweating bullets, I reckon.
Yeah, and we're almost approaching the stage of where the soft tyres do start to wear more than the mediums, but at the current stage, Goat has a little bit more tyre wear on the front right, but Flossie in the MR, the tyre wear on the back right, right up behind him.
Yep.
I think he may have just break himself a little bit there, but getting an awesome run coming out of that corner by the looks of it, but the power of the BMW is just too much for the McLaren.
Yeah, well, he's got this lap to get him set up if he can be close enough so that in the next lap, any opportunity he can slip by, it's exactly what he needs. He's in prime position at the moment. I don't think Flossie could ask for anything better other than being 5 seconds in front.
Yeah, and go doesn't strike me as one of those drivers who will overly defend to a point where it's deemed illegal in cases. I think once he sees the picture that, you know, Flossie is just too much for him, I think he'll just let him go. And then maybe try and put a move on later and maybe pressure Flossie into a mistake.
Yeah, Goat's a racer though. He will block, not block, but defend. He'll take the defensive line. He won't block or brake check any corners. But yeah, he'll definitely make that BMW 3 cars wide and make sure Flossie has to go under him, not around him.
Yeah, he's right up behind him, under a tenth of a second. I think, he's gonna... Oh, that's a very smart move by Flossie. Completely dummied Goat out there, but Goat held the inside line beautifully and ended up getting a bit of a bump by that.
Yeah, it's. I'd love to flick back and see what these boys are doing. Oh, as Flossie pulls out, not quite enough. Goat saw that coming too. Oh, I don't want to go away from these guys. Sorry,
no,
those guys,
definitely not.
But I can't leave these guys alone at the moment.
It's going to be an absolutely nail-biting last lap here.
Yeah,
these guys haven't been separated by more than 0.4 of a second.
Flossie's got to be looking at that right-hander where he almost caught him but flipped it last time. So around here, he should be able to get very close up the inside on those softs. Goat's still got just enough power to keep out in front of him here, but this is the corner he's got to worry about.
Yeah, we'll see what Flossie can do. Maybe he might just send it.
Oh wow! Not enough.
Oh, but Goat was a bit taily coming out of there.
They're both giving it their all at the moment. These guys are not yielding for anything. Takes a very defensive line there, Goat. Flossie tries to go it out wide to get a bit more drive out of this corner. Your only option left now is the very last corner. With those soft tyres, if you've got anything left in them, he's got to try and keep it in nice and tight if Goat doesn't beat him to it. And tight it is for Goat. Goat knows exactly what he's doing there.
Yeah, there's still a monumental effort from Flossie. first and second. So
yeah, great job from those two. Well done, Goat and Flossie. And then we've got Tombo in third back there, coming up from where he was. It's good to see Tombo up on the podium.
yeah, very monumental effort from Tombo. His front right is completely dead. But yeah, I think even points after that race. I'm not sure if you're watching Floss at the moment, but they were a bit tangled up with the auto drive coming out of that first corner. They were pretty much facing each other coming out of that first corner. But yeah, they'll both be scoring even amount of points. So I think Flossie will be quite happy that he only protects his gap in the championship rather than lose points to go.
Yeah, we've got Corbin coming over, 43 seconds behind. And last but not least, back there in that Ford GT, doing a stand-in job tonight for Showman and KZ is DCE, coming through that last sector right now. Now, that GT can be an absolute handful. While it is a rocket, most rockets don't corner well, and the GT is no exception. So you do really have to manhandle that thing around sometimes.
Yeah, we'll see if he can even beat. Is he even going to beat the finish race time? Oh, he might. The 100. Yeah, he might. Should be all right.
There you go.
I was concerned he wasn't going to beat the end finish time, but that's probably the only thing he beat that round. But yeah, still a monumental effort from DC to do a feeling job there.
Yeah, absolutely. And also a few we missed in there was Seckers in fourth, Stefko in fifth, Apex Humper in sixth, Suitlad in seventh, and Pup ended up eighth in that Corvette. So while we've quickly got them, if they're still there, we'll get Stefko and Oil back in. Starting off with Stefko, fifth. Mate, you've got to be happy with that.
I'm very happy, mate. I could have had fourth if I didn't have a little mix-up behind Seckers, but yeah, I was right up his clacker towards that last lap. It was a hard effort to catch up 3 seconds on him, but it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely, and those tyres do really creep up in the end. Did you have Apex creeping up on you as well?
Yeah, towards the end of my medium stint, in the middle there, it was he got within a second. He made a little mistake coming out of the left-hand hairpin on the infield there, or sorry, on the right-hand side of the track, and yeah, that gave me a bit of breathing space, because the last thing you want is Apex coming up your rear end.
No, that is absolutely true, but it's also good to have Apex as a wingman and being a
100%
as well. So
100%, mate.
Oily back in ninth. How'd you go back there, big fella? As good as you were hoping?
Yeah, just about. I was quite happy with that. I could have used the softs and mediums a lot better, but yeah, the finishing position's almost where I want it to be.
Sweet. Oh, well, it seems like that was a good one all round. What we might do now, gentlemen, is thank both the drivers for being here and putting up with listening to us in their ear while they went around the track all night. So thank you, Stefko, and thank you, Oil.
Thank you.
Not a problem at all. Next week, what have we got, Pagani? What are we looking forward to?
And off to the spreadsheets I go. Next week,
that's okay, I can tell you, you've got brands. We got the GR4s at Brands for an Enduro next week, I think.
I think the McLarens will do quite well around there, to be honest.
Absolutely. There's a few cars that are around there that were doing well around there, so it's going to be an awesome race. I think there's 30-odd or more laps. I can't remember rightly. But yeah, there's a few people chomping at the bit to get that track. It will be on for young and old. Unfortunately, we won't have a stream for you a bit later for the Div 2 race, so this was our only one this evening. Pagani, thank you for jumping in last minute and joining us for this one.
No worries, it's an absolute pleasure being with you.
Yep, and we will say good night to you all and see you next week.
There you go.